Youth Expedition is a platform where we focus on three major aspects of life, that is health, wealth, and relationships. Kindly check out the whole video, you will definitely get much value out of it. Your energy level. First of all, let me introduce you. So, guys, Mr. Anesu Masamba is an inspirational speaker. He's a certified life coach. He's a sales expert and is an author of his two books, that is, two editions of his book, I Can Do This. He is a graduate student in the field of financial engineering. So, very great. Welcome, Anesu.
Thank you very much, Akil. It's a pleasure to be here.
Correct. So, let's start with some question answers. So, I have a few questions for you, Anesu. First of all,
Yes.
let me ask you, so how you got such a high level of confidence, self-confidence in such a young age that you wrote a book, you are an inspirational speaker, you are a life coach. Like how you did this?
Well, okay, thank you. First, what I can say is it's something which doesn't just come naturally. So for me, I can say one, I would speak of the exposure which I got. I remember in high school getting some opportunities, like one of which was being part of the scripture union committee, where as someone as young as I was, right, getting that exposure to be organizing events, to be meeting a lot of people, is something which began to build my confidence, but I didn't know that it was actually helping me to be able to learn to face people, to be able to stand in front of crowds, and also taking part in so many other different things where you find you're taking part in this and you have to stand in front of so many people. I remember at first when I stood up to the stage, as I was just walking, to get a prize during high school, I almost felt dizzy, when I looked down and I saw everyone, I was just seeing eyes and, all of them were dressed in, black and white. So you can imagine the scene where you're just seeing all black and white. I kind of felt dizzy, but then over time, I began to be more confident about it. I began to get used to it until it just became normal. So what I can just say is one of the things which is very important to building that confidence or building up this confidence when I would speak of the exposure which I've gotten. And the other thing which I can just speak of is just being aware of myself, just being aware of who I am. Because as long as I know who I am, as long as I know where I am, I'm confident. I'm like, this is who I am. This is me. So yeah.
Correct. Even I also heard when you said that some things come naturally, right? So even I have heard that when you choose the fields in which you are good at, on which you are naturally inclined at, that is I have read in the book Power of Habits in the James Clear. So
Yeah.
he clearly says that in which you are inclined towards naturally, the things in which you are inclined naturally, do that things so you will get success. So second thing, please tell me something about your book. Like, can you summarize your book? Yeah, like, what is the main content in it there?
All right. So yeah, my book is titled I Can Do This, and I can say at this point it's only available for distribution in China, and then yeah, it will go everywhere else this coming September. So it's titled I
All
Can Do
right.
This, right? So like you said earlier, it's the second edition, and what I can say about it is it's focused on an individual. It's a personal development book. It's a transformative book. So I looked at it in this way. I was like, there are the 5W and H questions. Who can do this? When can I do this? Why can I do this? What can I do? How can I do this? I'm answering those questions. So if you have to look at it, what you realize is it's coming to that point where it's focusing on an individual. So when I say, what can I do? I'm asking a question, say, okay, what is it that I can do? Am I able to identify something that I can do? And after identifying something that I can do, I now have to figure out and say, when can I do that? I can't do something any given moment. I have to be aware of the timing. Who can do this? It's also addressing a person. Say, who are you? Are you the right person to do what you're supposed to do? I think I also gave an example of, say, imagine a profession, right? Someone in the doctor, like someone who's a doctor, right? That person cannot
Right.
go and begin to fix a car. So if we are to now look and say who can do that, now we begin to seek. No, there is a doctor who's supposed to be doing the operation. Actually, I remember the example that I gave is the one where I think I was trying to fix my laptop, right? It had some issues or so. So somebody who knows about laptops and what they told me, this is how you do it, A, B, C, D, F, G. I tried to open it and all, and guess what? I failed to reassemble it. And that is where now
Oh,
this aspect say, in as much as yes, I might be able to do 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 things, but there comes a point where a professional must come and just do that. And I ended up just saying, you know what, I failed to do it and now I had to go get it repaired, and it was just a lot of issues or so on. So the basic thing comes down to saying, who can do this? Be able to identify the person who's supposed to do it. If I'm not able to do it, I can ask somebody who can come and do it for me. And then, something like that. Then where can you do it? Your positioning. Are you in the right position to do what you want to do? How can I do this? The methodology involved in doing what you want to do. You don't just do something anyhow, right? The plane, it doesn't just fly anyhow. It has to follow a certain protocol. It
correct.
has to follow certain procedures. So yeah, those are the questions which I get to address, but eventually they are boiling down to an individual. Say, if you have to say, where can I, meaning your positioning is important. Who can, meaning you are the one who's there. If you have to speak of what can I? So it's pointing down to an individual. Say, in as much as yes, you can speak about you doing what you want to do. You have to be developed. You have to be equipped. You have to be the right person. You have to be in the right position. You have to know the right people as well who can help you to do that, because you cannot do everything. Yeah.
To what you're saying, I can say that you have a hell lot of maturity at this young age. So that is very great. Actually, some people don't even know that what they are doing, why they are doing. I read something about one book, that is Ikigai. If you have ever heard about it, Ikigai is describes about the Japanese lifestyle, why they are happiest people in the world. Like they eat healthy, they work on their passion, so they ultimately live a good life. They are living a balanced life. They are good with their finances. They are good with their health. They are good with their food and all. They are
Yeah.
wealthy. So that is very great thing. So
Exactly.
another thing I would like to ask, like the third part of the very important aspect of life actually, that is the relationships. So what
Yeah.
do you take on relationships? Like a relationship at a young age, like after 20 maybe, like 19 to 20 years, when the puberty just hits and you are in some different zone. So is it good to have a relationship? Yeah,
Says, relationships, how can I put it? Or let me say this one. If you are in a relationship with the right person, it is good for you. Now
all
the
right,
question will be, who is the right person, right? And now also the other thing which we just have to take note of is relationships are not bad. We all need relationships. We all have to relate with one another. We can't survive in this world as islands, right? And you find even
correct.
within islands, they also rely on other places for supply, on other places for so many other different things. And so coming down to your question and say, okay, how would you balance that? Say, okay, you're in a relationship and your career and all. As for me, I would say something that I found to really be a blessing, right?
All right.
I'm very grateful. I don't know if I should mention your name, but I'm very grateful for the person I'm in a relationship with. I really
It's okay.
love
You
her.
don't
And
mention her name, but yeah.
okay. But one thing that she taught me, I remember when I was about to graduate, it was, I think, around May. Yeah. And yeah, if not April, May. And so what happened around that period was, I had to write my Chinese exam. And then I also had the thesis defense, the thesis, you know, writing and finalization that I had to do around that point. And so it was one of those things where I knew that I had to pass all of those for me to graduate. Those are the only things that were standing in the line for me to graduate. So I remember talking to her and I'm like, yo, this is what I have to do. I have to pass these exams. And if I don't pass, it's going to be something else that's going to be interesting. I'm not going to graduate. And then now they have to wait for January. All these, so many different things are coming into my mind. And one of the things that I kept on repeating was, what if I fail? What if I fail? until she asked me a question, which I was like, wow. She said, who told you you're going to fail? It was from that point where I realized I had to stop talking about it. I had to stop thinking about it or contemplating on it and just focus on what I wanted to go, which was to succeed. And so in this case, what you realize is something that helped me because I listened to her and I'm like, what's your take on this? And when she speaks something, I listen. And so when she spoke that, it spoke volumes within me. And I had to stop thinking, oh, I'm going to fail. And I was like, you know what? She said, we do not fail. We do not fail. We have to make sure that you pass. And she supported me in so many ways that I could not have imagined. And so when you look at it from that perspective, do you have somebody who is supportive, right? Do you have somebody who has got the same values as you? Imagine you're trying to pursue your academic studies and the person also has got different values about academics. What that would do is, in as much as you're pushing for your academics, she will not put much value on that. So she's supposed to come and then put value on what you value. You value what she values. So if your values don't align, you will always have clashes. And so in those regards, I think that it becomes beneficial because there are times where all by yourself, even though you have friends, even though you have some people whom you can talk to, but there's a way in which that voice kind of, how can I put it? There's a way in which she can speak, right? That you can understand, which if other people are to say the same thing, you might not be able to listen. So
I can, yeah.
that's what I would say about that.
Correct, correct. Actually, I want to input something in this.
Yeah, please
As
go ahead.
you said that relationships are actually supportive. Like if your partner and you are supportive to each other and you understand each other, then after
Yeah,
some points, like a time comes when you don't need to tell something. Everything is getting said by your expressions, facial expressions, and your body language. Your partner will understand. So
yeah,
that understanding and the care you take for each other, that is real love actually. So that
exactly.
is, yeah, so that is supportive love, and that is much more needed when you are feeling down, unless it is a toxic relationship. When talking on the goals, like you said, that should not be just only goal that okay, if everyone is in relationship, I want to be also in the relationship. So
Yeah,
talking about the goals and purposes, I would like to ask you that how to find your purpose of your life. If somebody is confused, like you have already done, like you have written a book, you are an inspirational speaker, you are a certified life coach, you have got that what you have to do, your purpose is fixed. But the person who is like not engaging in the activities that is needed, like non-academic activities, if he will engage in some of the activities, he will definitely find one thing. But if someone is confused and not able to like judge and not able to find it, how he can be succeed in life, what he should do. So what is the thing for him, like what he should do to find his purpose? What's your take?
okay. One of the things which I would just have to start off with is no one is here on this planet for, just to spend time or just to be here, but believe everyone has got a purpose that they were given by the Creator, by the Lord God. And so when you look at that, our lives, they must not be tailored towards our purposes. But now you find that so many times we are not sure what our purposes are. Or let's say from the time we were young, we're not exposed to this information. We're not exposed to things like, okay, there's a purpose for your life. One of the other ways that I realized is there are certain things which, if we are to think of it from the time we were children, there are certain things we begin to do. There are certain things that we found ourselves leaning towards that we ignored, right? But then those things, if we are to really take a closer look, you may realize that there's a stronger passion that was there, but it was ignored. And then now you just find yourself maybe you're now in the medical field, you're now in the finance field, but it's not like you just stumbled into finance. But it's maybe because when you were a child, there was something about finance within you, which was saying, you're just fascinated about things to do with money, but nobody was there to guide you. Nobody was there to tell you or show you to say, this thing about finance that you have, there must be something in you about finance. And then you begin to be fed with information, with resources that tailor you towards that finance, so that as you grow up in the field and you're established and you realize I have known my purpose all my life. But then now imagine a person is now 45 years old and now they're saying, ever since I was a child, I always loved finance. I used to just read books about finance, but no one maybe gave them some insights about about that area to say this could be, something within you that is crying to come out, right? And so that's one of the other things where sometimes our purposes they start to speak or come out from the time we're children. But then as okay, I know for us maybe it might not really be applicable, so okay, from the time we're children, but even from where we are going forward, right? But then even also if you are to happen to see some children like those maybe like 5, 6, 7 years old, when you realize certain things that they are good at, pay attention to those and maybe just, talk to, whoever is around them and say, have you ever noticed this and this? You might be good at that and that. And it might help reduce some of those or limit some of the confusions which people are having, where people, they grow up and they say, why are you here? They have no idea. Say, why are you doing what you are doing? They have no idea whatsoever. Yeah.
So I can see the passion by which you are giving the answer. So you are giving the answer from the deep within your heart. So it is very good for listening also. And also one thing I would like to add, like I also heard that if you want to find your purpose, first you have to clear the clutter of your mind, because it is very important. You clear
Yeah.
your clutter, then you sit with yourself for around 1 week, let's say, at a silent place without your mobile phones and all the distractions. Then you will find something. Then immediately you have to work upon it, like gain information about it, gain some knowledge. Now knowledge is free. Now internet is everywhere. Internet is almost free, and you can access almost everything on the internet. So that is actually a big power with our generation. Please go to Anesu Masamba's YouTube channel, go to his Instagram account, go to his website and find his book, I Can Do This. In both these editions, you will get in the soft copy mode. I must say after September, correct?
Yeah.
So
It's
please
coming out
visit
in
and
September.
please you can yeah. So please follow Anesu Masamba. You will definitely learn something out of it and you will definitely grow out of it.